Look at how cute it is.
That's really cute. What's that for?
There's this old like wives' tale
Yes.
that if you put a baby blanket under the tree for Christmas, that you'll be pregnant by next Christmas or have a baby by next Christmas.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And I figured this checked olive blanket was like perfect
Really
for us because it's very much so us. It's not for you, Bubby.
Bubby thinks it's nice.
It's for your sibling. I'll wrap this along with all my other gifts.
Before the holiday too. Engineers are like dipping out.
I changed my computer background. I know I look kind of scary. I just showered, put a mask in my hair. I did self-tanner, that's why I don't have my rings on. I think I said this in my last vlog, but we leave tomorrow for my annual work meeting / party that happens Friday, Saturday this weekend. Tomorrow, Thursday. So I am just beautifying myself. This is the one time of year I get to see everybody in person because I'm fully remote. And I'm excited about it. But yeah, I started to pack yesterday, and then I started like putting things in a bag and realized I'm probably gonna need a bigger bag. So I started to do that. I am waiting for my self-tanner to kind of like soak in. I was gonna get ready today, but if anything, I'm just gonna do my hair, so I don't really have much to do to get ready for this meeting and the party on Saturday, because I probably won't wash it until I get back. But today I wanted to do my brows, but I'm feeling like I don't really have to. I have like I wanted to go get them done, but I have a tint that I can use because I don't think I'm gonna, since I've already tanned, I don't think it would be wise to get my face waxed after I put my face tanning stuff on my face. But I'm gonna get back to work here and then I'll probably finish packing once this kind of like soaks in. My hair is like close to being dry, so I figured it would kind of be the perfect time to blow dry it and get a little chatty with you guys about our fertility journey and where we're at and just some updates. So forgot that my hairdresser said that this was something that we should do with our hair, and that is blow drying the top just a little bit before you try and style it. And it'll be easier to style it and round brush it and all of that. Okay, let's talk. Let me push you back a little bit. Let's talk fertility journey. Also, don't mind if you hear my chair squeaking. It's broken. And we're gonna get me like a stool for when my vanity is done. Where do I begin? I'm gonna start from like the very beginning and then work our way to here, because it has almost been a year. Like, at the end of this year, it'll be a full year that we are on our fertility journey. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that last year we had basically what was a vow renewal. And so we actually got married 4 months after we met in 2021. And we planned to have our big wedding in 2023, which we did. So we decided after we had our big wedding, whenever we decided to set the date, we were going to the following year, because we knew we wanted it to be in the fall, the following year. So come the new year, knew that we wanted to start our fertility journey. Prior to that, I guess it really goes back to 2022, because Maggie and I obviously were already married. I had been telling her, with the societal pressure, that I was really nervous about my egg quality, my egg count, and that I didn't know if I wanted to have this public wedding, because I had this fear that I wasn't gonna be able to get pregnant, that I, you know, didn't have that my egg quality wasn't good, that I didn't have enough eggs, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was probably every single day until we got our fertility checked that I would bring up to Maggie, like, I'm scared and I don't know if I want to get married because I want to like start our fertility process like ASAP. And so she finally was like, would it make you feel better if we went and got our fertility checked? Like, checked our egg count, checked our egg quality, got blood tests, all that jazz. So we were still living in Cincinnati at the time. I obviously said yes. We went and got everything checked. It all turned out good, and it just gave me this peace of mind that I could put all the energy that I was holding on wanting to start our family ASAP because of my age, like I wasn't getting any younger, into planning our public wedding. 2023 October rolls around. We ended up having our wedding with all of our favorite people in Cincinnati, and it was perfect because it was like in this place we had like started our life together. We had a beautiful venue. We had over 120 something of our loved ones in one space celebrating our love, and it just felt so good and so right. And then we went on our mini moon, and then come January, we started looking at donors, and we were like, okay, we're starting this process. We just started looking at donors to get an idea of what it was like, and then we found a donor that we loved, and we got really nervous. That was like our first, like, in hindsight, probably would have done it differently, but you only know what you don't know until you know it. Sorry, that's Otis barking. But we found a donor, and the place we found a donor was having a sale. It's so funny because like when you're shopping for a donor, you're like shopping online, and it's just like wild picking out somebody and like putting them in your cart. It's just weird. I guess even before January, we would have like donor date nights, and we would go on donor websites and look at donors. And then come January, we were like taking it more seriously, like the whole family planning process. And yeah, we found a donor we fell in love with, and we couldn't pass up. And of course, like the place that we were purchasing our donor specimen from was having this deal. It was a 20% off deal plus 3 free years of storage, which is like amazing. And so we knew we were kind of doing it backwards, but we found a donor that we loved, and we just didn't want to pass him up. So we purchased our donor sperm. Then we set a fertility appointment with an IVF clinic here in Michigan. And that first appointment was in March. So I don't know if I vlogged that or not because I didn't really know what to expect. It was virtual. And then right after that, it was like blood work, procedures, kind of basically the stuff that you saw in my last fertility vlog. We officially started the IUI process in June, I believe, and we did a total of 6 IUIs, 5 cycles. So the last cycle was a double IUI, and none of them worked, unfortunately. I was just convinced, I was going to get pregnant on our first try. I met people in groups that were getting pregnant on their first or second. I did all medicated IUIs. If I would have known what I know now, I probably wouldn't have done medicated, and I would have started the whole process differently. I can answer questions about that if you have any, but as we know, I'm more of like a natural girly anyway. And now, knowing what I know and how my body has responded to everything, I just know that my body hated the fertility drugs. And I know that I have to use them for the next step in this process. And I've come to peace with it. I know this is how the IVF process goes. So yeah, we have done a total of 6 IUIs, and the last one was in October, and we decided to take November, December off. November, December, January off, and start back up in February. The only reason we're starting back up, well, there's 2 reasons we're starting back up in February instead of January. One, to give my body a longer break off of these meds a total of 3 months feels really good to me. And then 2, because Maggie has a work trip around the time I would be doing a retrieval anyway, come January. So we were like, let's just give my body a little bit more time. We're starting IVF in February. And like I said, I've come to terms with the fact that I have to take medication to go through the IVF process. I've talked to doctors about doing IVF the more like natural way, and the way we want to go about the process, it just makes sense for us to do it medicated. And it just feels better knowing that I've given my body 3 months break, and it's only for a month that I'll have to put my body on these meds. It's less than a month, really. So I feel better about that. I was really just like, I couldn't take the constant medication. I just like couldn't take it. Mentally, I couldn't take it. Physically, my body was just like really debilitated, and I can get more into that in a second, but like it really took a toll on me taking these medications, because it was around the clock, like constant, literally from the start of my cycle to the end of my cycle. There's 4 different medications that my clinic put me on, and the last one, once you're done with progesterone, like your body just naturally gets its period. And I would be back on the meds again. And 3 months just feels so good to me to just like detox and get this shit out of my system. Like I already feel 100 times better mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. And I've gone through 1 period cycle since our last IUI, two periods. The way that the meds just messed with me. Let's get into that. I think a lot of my fear of me putting anything foreign into my body stems from my brother passing away from a drug overdose. And a lot of the issues that I've had with food, and just like being vegan for 4 years, and like this negative mindset that I had on putting like anything into my body. And I'm still working through that, but I think there was that mental aspect. There was the mental backflips that like my mind was doing regarding like how my body would react, and like how my body would feel long term. And there was just like so much that went into that mentally for me, that like I think I went into this like depression that I didn't even realize. So that was like where my mentality was. And then how it affected me physically was, had to take it a lot easier than I like truly needed for my body. Like my body needed to like let out all this energy and let out like all this sweat, and I couldn't, like I just didn't have the physical capacity to like do it. I kept chalking it up to the fact that like my body's just performing differently, and it's this mental game of just recognizing that like my body's going to perform differently, just like suck it up. But it wasn't that. Like it was so much more than that. It was like my body wasn't like, it was in so much pain from these meds, like with my joints and like my stomach and so many other, like my shoulder. Like I had like so many physical issues that like I think it just exacerbated when I did work out. So it was like, okay, well I guess I just need to walk and do like yoga and like do these like lighter workouts. But like my mentality needed more than that. Like I needed to sweat, I needed to exert energy, and I literally couldn't. Emotionally, like there's so many hormones that you're taking that like your emotions are just like fucked. Like it affected so much, and I'm so grateful to have had Maggie throughout this process, because I don't know what I would have done. She just grounded me so often, and she like made me feel seen and understood and not crazy in like what I was going through. And I feel like it was just like an out-of-body experience. It was very much so like, who am I? Trying to like find myself in this mental capacity, physical capacity that I had, like I felt like I was a different person. It was very hard for me. And I don't think a lot of people recognized that. Like I tried to voice it, but like now that I'm out of it, I feel like I recognize it so much more, because I'm back to like who I am mentally, physically, and emotionally. Like, I feel so much more myself. And I wonder, I'm very curious to know, like, I've obviously heard women feeling similar feelings postpartum. So I'm very curious, like, to see how being pregnant, like, changes my everything. And if being pregnant, like, being in that physical state, like, will help my mentality. Because this, it was like, there's nothing, like, yes, it's like I'm doing all this for like a bigger outcome, but because the result, I didn't have the results that like I anticipated going into this. Like, I know it was for something because I've learned so much, but at the same time, like, you go into the whole process thinking that you're going to come out of it getting pregnant, and you don't have that. So like, I wonder if it'll be different. It'll be a different experience for me, like actually feeling the physical, emotional, mindset changes that come with pregnancy. I don't know if that's making sense. It makes so much sense in my mind, and I feel like I've explained it to the best of my ability. So I really hope that that makes sense, because I feel it made a lot of sense coming out of my mouth. But I know that sometimes I like could better explain things when I listen back to myself. So we'll see when I'm editing this if I feel like I could have better explained myself. But yeah, that is where we're at in our fertility process. I feel like I talked forever, so I really, really, really hope that this whole vlog isn't just me talking about where we're at in our fertility journey, and that I'm able to add in some of this business trip. But if not, I really appreciate you listening. Like, I want this for our family to look back on, but I also like want to be able to look back on it for myself and to see how far I've come throughout this whole process, because I am so proud of myself. I know how much my body has gone through to get here, and it is not lost on me that like I will one day look at this whole process and be so grateful for like what I was able to go through to get to what we want. And that is a family. So my camera's dying. I finished the look for the day, and I'm gonna finish packing, and I'll talk to you later.